Hello and welcome to the PM Models Show. Here we are with you on Wednesday, the 2nd of September 2020. How are you today, Mr. Matt? Are you good?
I'm very well, thank you, yes. What a bizarre day yesterday was, shall we say.
Well, we're going to get that straight out of the way. Okay.
Well, let's get on with it and do it, yeah.
We might as well jump straight in. I must admit, in the last couple of hours especially, I've had lots of you message about a certain incident that's happened over at AK Interactive. Hold on, I've got a thing here. I can show you a couple of bits. Now, to be honest with you, this all started about sort of 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon, wasn't it?
Yeah, they put a teaser video up.
There was a little teaser video that went up, and to say it was, I would call it inappropriate. I think a lot of people would say that's an understatement. So what happened was, you all know John, one of the team at Flory Models, messaged us and said, "Have you seen this?" And it was a picture of the ovens from obviously a World War II Nazi concentration camp. So we all said, my God, somebody's hacked the site, wasn't it? That was the initial thought, that they'd been hacked, that somebody had obviously put up an image, obviously clearly inappropriate and all the rest of it. But then it quickly came about that no, this was more of a, I think you'd call it a publicity stunt, or something was going on, because next thing you know, their website, which you see here now, which isn't the one now, by the way, they've completely pulled it, but it had up there coming on the 8th, what was the slogan? Because I said that was inappropriate as well, really.
Yeah, to be honest, I can't remember.
I can't remember what it was now, but it had a slogan where you're seeing it below here. It was a red, and it was all done in blood. What was it?
Are you ready?
Are you ready? Coming on the 8th of September, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I was saying, you couldn't have got more wrong. And then next thing you know, there was a short, like 1 minute teaser video, which had World War II, obviously, footage or historical footage, and then obviously footage from other atrocities from around the world. So I think one of them was Uganda, wasn't it?
Rwanda was one.
Rwanda one, yeah. And it showed obviously corpses lying on the floor and obviously, you know, being put into pits and all this different type of thing. So, and again, this is one of those things at the time, I think the messages were being sent back and forth, and we were all at work. Obviously, Matt's at PM. I was working Flory Models. I'd just done my Q&A show as well, and I was actually editing it when this was coming in on my phone. And the guys, we were all talking and everything else about it. And it was one of those things, we weren't quite sure what was going on. And, you know, again, there was speculation that the company had been hacked and this is what it was and all the rest of it. But very quickly, it started to come out that this isn't. This is more of a feature that they're doing. And then all of a sudden, comments obviously started to flow through. And at this point, it was now about 7 o'clock in the evening. Me and the team were all together and we were all sat on Skype watching this unfold live. And in some ways, that was a quite funny thing. I was working here on the Hurricane. Matt was doing some work as well. The guys were there. And it was just going downhill.
It was car crash TV. It was terrible, really, wasn't it? It was just the more they dug, the deeper it went.
You know, and basically what's come about, you can see it. This is the underneath here is obviously their Facebook page, and this is now, to be honest, a totally sanitized version of what was there. Obviously there was this video playing for all to see, children, you know, and everything else, and then they had this, which is their new book, Condemnation. And again, to be honest with you, it's quite, as you can see, a scary type title on here and all the rest of it, and it says about adults and all the rest of it. And then obviously, you know, it's all about their book. AK at this point are doing a lot of backpedaling, but I think as we were looking, it's like 400 negative comments up on their Facebook page. Bearing in mind they normally get about 10 comments maybe on each post, and suddenly it had gone viral. Literally, it was all over the internet. And you know, well, as I say, we can sort of show it here. As you can see, we've got a character here, and he's jacking up. You know, he's obviously an addict, and they're doing that. And again, this is another sanitized version. In the real one, it actually showed, in the next page, it was a couple of people wearing face masks and there was body bags in a trench. And that's what that diorama was. Then we've got another one here, which obviously shows rubbish and various things, you know, obviously showing poverty and the various people gathering water and stuff, which is, to be honest, fair enough. And then we've got another one here, which is again, it's a little bit because obviously this is the poison that was used on obviously during Second World War with the Nazis, and clearly it's a death shower. For obviously where people from concentration camps were taken, and obviously the gas was dropped in through the roof, and a modeller, why anybody would want to go that far, has obviously put that in. Again, we've got another one showing a beach scene, and again there was other scenes in here, but now they've sort of sanitized it to the more normal versions of it. But quite frankly, the backlash has been like Matt said, last night was car crash TV on the internet. We were sat here almost just mesmerised watching it unfold live across the internet. Obviously, we're getting sort of bombarded by messages and various things, and I have to say the Flooring Models forums were very quiet on it. I know I had a rant the day before, but Jesus, it was. But again, other forums have been a lot more vocal about it. Again, I just cannot understand for the life of me. Whilst modelling likes to push the boundaries, there are clear boundaries. There always has been. It's like pornography, and let's face it, Mig a few years ago got quite a bit flamed for having scantily clad, shall we say, ladies in their magazines and that. And again, I think, sex sells, let's face it, and all the rest of it. But there's a boundary. And I think they pushed it a little bit too far. They understood that and moved back from it because it didn't need to go that far. And I think they got the balance quite right with it and all the rest of it. That this isn't a lads mag. We are a modelling thing. We do tend to be a more mature audience than the youngsters and things like that. But this, I have to say, I was appalled. And let's face it, I'm the first one to be pushing boundaries with the company and with the hobby and everything else. And some of the things I've tried in the past have been, quite frankly, not work. So we've immediately pulled them, and for whatever reasons and things like that. But this, I just don't understand it. What's your feelings?
From a business point of view, no, I don't. I think me and you were just saying, I think there's certain things of this hobby that you don't go near. Out of respect, out of empathy, because it's just not the right moral thing to do. And this has just broke it all to me. It's just a bit of an unwritten rule, I think, within the modelling community that, there's certain aspects, at the end of the day, war is not nice. What probably the things we build and deal with are for a purpose. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But this I don't know, this is just morally just too far, way too far. I
think, like I was saying, obviously me and the guy was talking about it a lot last night, and we were saying that we build machines of war and death. Let's face it, a Hurricane I'm working on here, as beautiful and as glamorous as this aircraft is now, when it was in use, its sole purpose was to destroy other aircraft and the people inside it. Let's face it, at the end of the day, when you're shooting at a tin can, you're going to shred everything that's in it as well. That's the whole point. There's no other use for this ever. A tank has one designed thing to do. It's what it does. A gun has a design thing of what it does. But at the end of the day is that I think from a modelling point of view, our point is that we build these things to keep the thing a bit alive, but deep down in our head, we all know what they're for. We don't need to see that. That's the whole point, and it's not that, we've got some, burying our head in the sands, or we're all snowflakes and all the rest of it, because clearly we're not. But it's no different from doing a diorama with wounded soldiers and that. You go to a certain level, yes, he's a wounded soldier, he's on the floor, he might have blood, but you would never do a corpse with its guts hanging out, which is, to be horrible and frank about it, what happens when you get blown up and things. It's not like, Hollywood shows you and there's a bit of red on your chest. The reality is, you're hit by high-powered sniper rifles and, obviously blast and concussions. Horrible things happen to you, but we don't need to see it. That's the whole point. We all know what it is. Many people out there have been through it and have got the injuries even to prove it. So it's that thing. You don't need to show it because it's there. But to have a book, and I'm not going to say it glorifies it, because clearly it doesn't. And each one, I assume, is telling a story. And each modeller that's worked on them, I don't know why. I don't know who they are. I haven't looked into the modelers who have taken part in the book. Personally, though, if I had been asked to take part, I would have refused it, because why would you? I can't imagine of wanting to do that. And pushing the boundaries is one thing, but in taste and decency and stuff like that is a different matter. But I just, it
I
was
think, to be
appalling.
honest, Phil, I think, like, reading through the comments, I think the point is people sort of do this hobby to escape that sort of thing as well.
Yeah.
Does that make
Yeah.
sense? We know it goes
Yes.
on in the world. You know, it's on the news and on your social media and all that. We know this happens and has happened.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, there's like, you do this hobby for a bit of escapism, so you could go somewhere else, say.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just, it's not right. Let's be honest. I don't think we can't. There's no way around it, because they like art and all this, that, and the other. Well, I think even art has its boundaries.
Yes,
You know?
absolutely. Yeah.
At the end of the day, there's boundaries to everything, and that's, to me, it's been overstepped by a long way with this. To be honest, I think it's really, really badly been judged. And like we were saying, this has not just been one decision. This has gone through an whole company.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
at some point somebody's gone, do you know what? I don't think this is a good idea.
Yeah. You know, I like we were discussing last night at Frank, and our big thing was a couple of things. One, at what meeting, when this came up, did anybody on the table think it was a good idea? Secondly, the bit where the design process is going through, and obviously they're contacting modelers to submitting work or work that's already been done being put in there, did somebody not think, do you know what, don't we think this is going a little bit too far? Right the way through to whoever signed this off at the end of the day,
Yeah.
how they're still going to have a job as we sit here at midday on Wednesday is going to be amazing, you know. And I understand, obviously, you know, I know some of the guys involved in this from the company, from AK personally. I've had dealings with them in the past, and you know, it's just one of those ones where it's more than one person was involved. This isn't just somebody who self-published a book. This isn't somebody who's just come together. It's a large corporate company, you know, with obviously lots of fingers and lots of pies and all the rest of it. And you would imagine there must have been a chain that this went up through, probably to somebody at a very high level who would have had to sign off to pay for all of this, to put this into print and everything else, and how it sailed right the way through the company with not somebody chirping up saying, don't you think this is a little bit poor taste?
Yeah.
You know, isn't this just going a little bit too far? Do you think people are actually going to buy it? You know, there might be a little bit of a backlash. As I said before, I know, you know, from a company point of view, been doing flooring models for almost 20 years now. You know, some things we've done and tried and all the rest of it, clearly nothing like this. But, you know, you have that little thing, you're thinking, should we try it? You know, I don't know, you know, perhaps not, perhaps, you know, not quite that far, you know, and other times you think, you know, we'll try it. And if it doesn't work, we'll pull it, you know, and we'll give it a whirl. And, you know, so I'm all for pushing the boundaries and stuff. But on something like this, to do it, but really, I think the point is as well is that when they did the teaser, to tease something like this as well, you know, to release it all in one and say, this is what it's about. We're trying to, you know, show this side of the world, and from a modelling point of view of pushing the boundaries, perhaps, but to tease a load of corpses being shown, you know, and okay, it's all very well then putting, you know, parental advisory explicit, it's on their Facebook channel showing corpses. You've got youngsters involved in the hobby. You know, at Flooring Models, we've got lots of young members. You know, we've got lots of families who model together. I'm sure you would like to shield your children from that type of thing. So to put it outwardly with just a note on here saying, you know, parental advisory, and again, you know, I'm a parent, Matt's a parent, you know, and all the rest of it. We've got young kids. It's that thing. You try and shield them as long as you can. You know, and then you explain to them in a proper way about these things, not see it on a modelling site.
Yeah, I think what really fell down with AK is it's political.
Yes.
You know, and they're a paint manufacturer. Like, you know, a lot of comments. You're a paint manufacturer. You do this, and why are they involved with this? What's again? You know, what's coincided for these to do this sort of thing? It's completely different. You know, politics is a completely different, you know, side of everything else. So like, this is a hobby. Politics is politics, isn't it? At the end of the day, you know what I mean? And
I must admit, the other thing was, you know, Nathan
it?
did a little bit of research on this for us and all the rest of it, and he was saying apparently they were given a kickback from so much percent of royalties or profits, so many percentage of the profit of the first run of that book goes to various charities.
Yeah, it goes to rebuilding Ethiopia or something
That's
like that.
something else like that. Which again is all very nice, but it's profits off of the back of a book. It's almost like they're trying to justify what they're doing, but also we're being very nice. But it's like profits from a percentage of the first draft of the book as well. And it was, I don't know, it was almost like they were trying to make excuses for it before they even released it.
I would say that, but really, they could have done any book. They didn't have to put that material in it, any book.
Yeah.
They could have just said, right, we're releasing a book on one of their usual, thingy books, what you call them, coffee table books, as you call them, whatever.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
And said the profits of this are going to whatever charity they want it to. And people would have gone, all right, okay, fine, yeah,
that's nice.
We'll buy it, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I think
but as I say, we don't want to go on this forever because no doubt it will spill over to tomorrow night's show as well on the live show. Yeah. But it's just I think in very poor taste. I think the way they tried to release it and everything else. But I suppose more what I'm a little bit would be concerned about is how AK took this right the way point to release, and nobody picked up. And I'm not being funny, is that, obviously we're just, 6 team members from PM and Flooring Models yakking last night about it. But we were watching the comments and, to be honest, we were all reading out the comments and everything else that people were saying. And I didn't think there was one bad one in there that I didn't agree with, where people were saying this is just wrong, the way you've tried to release it, the way you're glamorizing the actual sale of the book and the various things, right the way through to, I agree as well, just the front cover of the book. It's like, it is, like was pointed out, it's like the scene from a Saw film, you know?
It's like a movie poster.
It is, it's like a movie poster. And it's like, really, at what point did someone sign that off even? Again, I've seen some things in this hobby and occasionally you think, do you know what, that's just a little near the knuckle, but I've never been offended outwardly. That I've thought, do you know what, that's just a little bit too much. But that yesterday, the entire thing from the teaser, which was just awful and wrong, through to the book cover, and then, as I say, what they had in the clips of showing in the book, I just didn't get it at all. And again, I'm just glad that they've pulled it and done the right thing. I think they were way too late, because if you'd read the comments and what people were saying, you had their customers, I assume, from manufacturers through to stockists and everything else, saying they were going to no longer be part of them because of it. If they stick to it, it's a different matter. But, we have to say, even from a PM Models point of view, we did say, as stockists of AK stuff, it does put us into a little bit of a position, where you think, do you really want to be associated with a company that's doing that? At the end of the day, I'm hoping from AK's point of view, and I'm sure they are, this will be pulled and it will be blown over, and they'll put it in on the wall as a good lesson of not what to do. And it's all very well them being putting up these days. It says nowadays the human being is losing ground and all of this, and
the moral high ground, isn't it?
It is. It's like they're trying. It's like they're making a thing, and they were saying about how that being leading the way, and we're not talking about a load of plastic bags here, are we? Plastic pollution and that. This is something a little bit more. When you're talking genocide and getting involved in that argument, that is for people who have got a massive respect for people who have dealings with that and deal with it and are trying to, obviously bring people to justice and all stuff like that. But they are on another level. That's not where our hobby should ever be. That's not what we are about. And as I say, I'm not trying to be a snowflake here and all the rest of it, because clearly anybody who knows me knows I'm not. But I think in the thing of the hobby, and what we try and do as a hobbyist group, as a lot of us are as amateur researchers and historians, we're all aware of what's happened, but it's still, I don't know, it's almost seemed to be making money off the back of it, because at the end of the day, they're trying to flog their products. What are they going to do? Blood red paint? It's all very well, I'm not being funny, we all, that's why I've seen a lot of companies when they're doing flesh colours and tones like that. Some of the wargaming ones, they'll call it orc flesh and gore red. That's one thing. But the bit where it just makes you wonder, they're going to be doing a paint colour of gassed out flesh.
Well,
You know,
that's
it's the
not
type of grey you look like when you've been in a gas chamber. You know, it's
yeah, it's no.
again, it's the taste and decency thing at the end of the day. I just think AK are incredibly off. But as I said, my last word is why it never got picked up from somebody's initial idea. Do you know what? I've got an idea for a book. Through to that doing the trailer that we saw last night, and then the full video of it last night, and then, you know, everything that happened. Somebody seriously needs to take a good look at their company, you know.
Yeah, the moral compass was definitely off.
It was.
Completely.
So,
yeah, and they've completely misjudged the public with it.
I think that's
and their
it.
customers and everything else. I mean, with everything else that's gone off this year, and the progression of this year and how it's been, this, you know, no, you just think, no, just let's not bother. Let's just...
Yeah, it was the joke, wasn't it? It was somebody did do a fantastic meme of a guy sat in a bath of water with a toaster in his hand, and he was AK, and it almost was like it. It's like they're just committing, you know, business suicide. Why would on earth would you ever do that? And I think that summed it up. And again, we were saying, you know, this year has almost been make or break for the hobby. I think this year with COVID and everything, as horrible as it sounds, and from a business point of view, we can be honest, PM has done quite well from it, because obviously a lot of you are at home and are hobbying when traditionally you're not doing it, especially in the Northern Hemisphere, being the summer, it's our quietest period. This year, it's been our busiest. I've had more members subscribe to Flooring Models in the last 3 months than we had almost in the entire of last year, you know, purely because, and, you know, luckily a lot of them are staying, which is great, because I thought a lot of them might just be here for COVID and then leave, but seem to be here, which is fantastic, you know, but there's a lot of model companies who have gone to the wall because of it, you know, and there's a lot of companies who have really, really struggled. And then for AK to chuck this in at the end of it, it was almost like, what the hell? You know, as if everyone hasn't had enough drama and misery and all the rest of it, they've decided to do a condemnation book. It's a bit like when the world's shit, you know, it can't get any worse. Here's a book that shows it, you know.
It's like what I said, isn't it? It says like the 2020 is bringing a, here's AK, hold my beer.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you think 2020's been really bad. Hold my beer.
It's just terrible. Yeah, it's just, you know, I mean, it's just no, it's just bad. There's no way we can be,
Yeah, I think in some really ways, as much as I say, I do know the guys from AK, I've worked with them in the past, I've had a fantastic business relation with them and all the rest of it, but I cannot possibly, in any sense...
While we're on, I would think here for somebody from AK to come on with us and explain what the process was and how they got to it and why it got released.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Come out and just... say what you need to say.
Put your point of view over of why you think that's a good idea, and whilst you're standing by it.
Obviously, the social media side of stuff, you know, it can get pretty
crazy.
Crazy, can't it? And I mean, this is justified. The 100% is justified. But there's obviously, I mean, there's been a statement put, but really, if anybody from AK sees this, you're invited on. And and we'll talk to you, and you can talk to us of why you have come to this, you know, conclusion, shall we say, or decision, or whatever way you want to put it, of how this has come out. So,
personally, I think, you know, from AK's point of view, their best thing possibly to do is just to pull it, get rid of it, and just simply say that, you know, we made a mistake, hands up, we were trying to push the envelope, we understand now, the boundaries are broken, we apologise, and never speak of it again. You know, and all the rest of it. And if they wanted to be really nice, they could say, look, we'll still support the charity and we'll give X, you know.
Well, 100% of the proceeds will go to the charity. We're not taking a penny from it. Really,
we'll never make a penny from it. If anybody does want it, that's it, and do it that way. But I think personally it'd be better to bin it. Just bin it off. So put it down to bad experience and all the rest of it. Because all the time they're standing by that, it's not doing them well. And the horrible thing is, I'm not being funny, they've got a nice load of people here that they deal with, including Tamiya, Hasegawa, AFV, all of these companies down in here.
Did you know what? I forgot about actually this started distributing. I'm just thinking, I wonder how long it's going to be before they're not.
Well, this is it.
You know what I
I'm
mean?
not being funny. If I was a company and I felt very strongly about what they're doing, you wouldn't want them as your distributor. That's,
Yeah.
it's black
That
and white. At the end of the day, it's
just
business.
going back to a thing. I think from regardless of the book and obviously that coming out and all the stuff that went off yesterday, I think it's very irresponsible of them as a business to even consider it as in when you are a distributor, you have got customers. It's not just AK as in
Yes.
the sole company. They have to deal with a lot of other people, so the fallout from it could be very wide, like you say, with people who they're distributing kits for, or people who are stocking their products.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm not being
I don't
funny.
think
And
that's even been considered. That
if it does, yeah, as you say, from a point of view, we were hearing things last night with people saying they were going to refuse to stock AK products anymore because they just felt so appalled by it. Now, if they stand by that, it's different. Heat at the moment, last night might be different, and all the rest of it. But as you say, AK as a distributor now has a moral obligation to do the right things by the people who are putting their trust and giving them the rights to distribute their products. And as you say, it is some big companies in there these days. Mig, Meng, as you say, you've got Tamiya in there. You've got, as you say, all of them, Hasegawa, AMV, ICM now, as you say, Broncos, and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the list goes on. Is that if those companies feel that you're not representing them in the proper right in their region, then yeah, absolutely. And again, I think it's very naive of AK to be able to think we're pushing boundaries when you've got companies who are putting, personally for me, I have stockists and stuff like that, and I think about when you are having stockists, how are they going to be representing your company? Are they going to be good for the customer? Are they going to get good customer service and everything else like that? Because that's part of it. They're flogging your product at the end of the day. They are being, responsible for you. As I say,
there's a bigger picture to this
Yeah.
besides this book and what went off yesterday that I think they're completely overlooked.
Absolutely. And it's a shame because, as I say, I've always liked AK, and as I say, we've had a working relationship with AK for many years at Flory Models, and they've been very, very good to me and to my customers, as in the Flory Models members, because when we've had trouble with their products, and let's face it, they have had troubles in the past, they've always been fantastic at supplying replacement gear straight away and giving lots of freebies away, obviously, magazines, paints, various things that they've given to Flory Models members and stuff like that. They've sent stuff for me to review in the past as well, and I've always done it and hopefully been very fair and honest about their products. But honestly, I cannot give a positive word to anything they've done on this. There's no way I could side with AK at all on this. This was just bad. If they had have done, and to be honest, if they had sent me that book to review, it would have been sent back with a nice covering letter saying, you are off your bloody trolley. There's no way I would show that. And the same way I would never show the videos and the pictures that they had up on their forum, because again, I just think it's wrong. It's just not the done thing. There's no watershed on the internet as well, we know, but you do have to take a little bit of moral stuff on that.
I think you do, yeah. I do think you have to make a stand for this, and
So AK, pull it, apologise for it, move on.
Yeah.
Before you dig yourself a proper hole. So, as we said last night, they were trying to defend it a little bit last night by saying, you guys haven't seen the full picture yet, you don't know what it's about, because we didn't, because it was just a teaser. I think a lot of us probably guessed it was a book or something, but, and I think actually, because we saw the thing, we did jokingly, and I say this, it was a joke, say, God, they're not going to do how to build Auschwitz, are they, or something else like that. Because me and Nathan have both been there, and we were discussing about it, and saying how moving place it is and everything else. And then it came up, and it was like, oh my God. Really? And again, even from the first, when they did the teaser, and it was only up for like an hour and a half or whatever it was before they put the real thing up, and it was the negativity of it, and they were deleting posts as fast as they were going up, and it was just, it was just watching Car Crash TV as it unveiled, and you would have thought from that initial batch of negativity that they might have thought, you know what, I think we've misjudged this. But they persisted with it and tried to justify it. And I think that was the worst thing, because they were trying to justify it and saying the reason they had done it and everything else, and all of it sounded bad. Not one thing when they were trying to justify it sounded, oh yeah, they've got a point. It was, yes. In some way, if it wasn't so serious about what they were trying to do, it would have been funny. you know. But because of the subject matter, you can't laugh at it. That's the point. But it was almost laughable the way they were trying to do it. So that's me off their Christmas card list.
I think so. Yeah, I'm with you with that. But they've kind of brought it on themselves, haven't they? But at the end of the day,
it's not. I'm just glad it's not me for a change.
Hey, well, that's it. The backlash they're getting is all their own doing.
It is, yes, absolutely.
So you reap what you sow.
Definitely, and they've sowed that book.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So anyway, shall we move on to PM matters now? Now we've got that out of the way.
Yes, I think we should. Right, do you want to talk about Great Wall first? Yes,
let's go to Great Wall, because we got asked about this, didn't we, last week?
We did, last week.
And funnily enough, ding, 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 as if like the shopkeeper appeared.
Yes.
We're getting restocks, and Gary at Tiger Hobbies is now going to be the official importer for it in the UK. So we are getting it all back in at last.
It is.
Including some new products, which we've got up on pre-order. The F14s, which now we can get cheaper as well.
Yes.
Gary's the official importer. We were getting them cheaper than the £56 that was sort of the RRP, official RRP for them, which is very steep for a 70-second kit, we've all been saying.
Yeah.
But it will be cheaper than that. I think it's going to be about 40 odd, between mid 45 quid, somewhere around that mark. Yeah. And then there's obviously the F15s in there. There's a new SU35.
Yeah.
Whatever they're bringing out, we're getting it back in. So
we will have a full restock then completely. So as you see it here, obviously on the site, take no notice. It is coming in. If you do want to put your name down for them, don't forget, if you click into any of these, you'll get a little box. Just pop your name and address in there. When it comes back in stock, you'll immediately be sent an email to say it's back in stock. But again, this is going to be, when are we talking about getting them back in?
December, I think he said. Looking at December.
Yeah, because obviously, don't forget, it comes in a container on a slow boat.
Yeah, well, he's got to put the order in, because he obviously needs feedback, because literally, I think he's just heard today about who it's going to be, because he was bringing it in anyway when I spoke to him last, but then I've had a phone call this morning to say he's now the official importer.
Yeah.
So things have changed again a little bit, I think, for pricing and obviously numbers that was coming in. So if you want to put your name down and put it on the wait list, it will help us then determine on how many to get in.
Yeah,
some of it we're all going to get cartons in, and then some of it it's going to be, certain numbers, shall we say. But if you want one Pacific kit off there and you put your name down in the wait list, I can go, right, well, we need 10 of them, 5 of them, 3 of them, and work it out a lot easier for when the stocks come in.
Yes.
And then you won't be disappointed.
Absolutely. But as I say, they've got that new SU35, isn't it, with the ground attack ordnance?
Yes, and then there's the UB, is it? The two-seater?
Yeah, that's it. The two-seater one as well. Their new releases coming in from those as well, so that'd be quite nice.
It's the limited run 72nd F15 in the D-Day.
Yeah, that's right.
Stripes.
So it's the F15E, so it's got the invasion stripes and the different versions. And as I say, we've got the 72nd A model and the D model, limited edition ones, as well as the standard. So, yes.
So that's looking forward to that coming back in. To be honest, it's been a while since we've had Great Wall Hobbies. It's been a pain to get hold of, but they're good kits. So
yeah.
I mean, the F15s, the little F15s are fantastic, aren't they?
Absolutely, they do some really nice stuff. Their 70-second stuff's really very, very nice. Yeah. And their 48 scale F15 as well, because it comes with all the small diameter bombs, which is the modern, and it comes with the sniper pod instead of the lantern attack pod you get on the older kits and stuff like that. So they are bang up to date, their kits. As I said, apologies, I know obviously it came up as a question last week about why have we not got any. It's purely we couldn't get them in. That was the trouble, So, but now obviously Tiger Hobbies, Gary at Tiger Hobbies is taking them in, bringing them in. Hopefully we'll get good stocks, and then obviously we can get them out to you guys. But good kits.
Absolutely.
And again, the nice thing is they're not at the full price we thought they were. Because I must admit, when we saw the full price, we were like, Jesus, that's a lot of money for a 70-second scale kit. But now we get them a bit cheaper as well. Really, they're no different from anybody else's, so that's good. Yeah,
I think you got to remember as well that Great Wall Hobbies, all the weapons are slide moulded, aren't they?
Yeah. A lot of slide moulding with all the Great Wall stuff. So yeah, definitely.
Really nicely done. So again, that's they're coming in. So that's some good news. The other thing is we've got 2 other pre-orders up, which is the Zarevsta Hercules.
Yes.
Which I think's due out November, I think I was told.
Yes.
And also the Italeri Tornado in 32nd, which is going to be December again. I'm thinking, just trying to remember what Ian told me yesterday.
Yeah.
Robico, when I had a chat. But yeah, that's going to be back end of the year, so we put them up on pre-order. So we
Which
were
would be
talking
really nice to have a decent 30-second scale, modern, because obviously we've only had the Revell one
Yeah.
forever. So yeah, that's the brand new one as well. So that looks very, very exciting. So far, we've only seen a bit of CAD and some molds.
Yeah.
As soon as we
it's
get any
strong
more
money,
pictures and
isn't it?
things, we'll get them up.
We've decided it's strong money, but hopefully they'll get it right, and it's going to be a nice kit.
Again,
So,
let's face it, if you go back through it, you got the Revell did the original F3, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Which I think I built.
Yeah.
And then obviously they brought out the GR1,
Yeah.
which came along in a couple of favours with ECR and all the rest of it from it. But again, this would be really nice to get a modern tooled nice. And it does look nice in CAD and all the details we've seen. Again, it's just one of those things, I think, when you look at Italeri, if you look at their recent kits, they're sort of coming along quite nicely. So I'm hoping, because this will be the first one in a while, it'll be a good jump. And we're in. And so again, it is strong money, sort of 140 quid, isn't it?
I think it's 140 full retail on it, isn't it?
So full retail, obviously we're doing a little bit off of that, but it's one of those things where it's a big kit, it's a big old lump, and if it's done right, it'll be very nice. So,
Yes. Yeah, and obviously they can get a bit of mileage out of it with the Tornado. Obviously,
absolutely,
with
with all
German
the versions
one,
that are
Italian
around.
one, obviously our one as well. And it was around for a long time, weren't it? So
absolutely,
you know, they picked a good subject. To be honest, it did need updating, shall we say, to 32nd. Like I say, we're just having the old Revell kit.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. You know, it's been a long time coming, hasn't it? Let's be honest. It's been about 4 years, is it? Since it was announced.
Announced, definitely. It's been a while, absolutely.
It's been a while, so yes, we're fingers crossed. Like I said, it'd be a nice kit. So
yeah, absolutely. And the Hercules, obviously, is the other one, being the H type as well.
Yes.
Nice to have a modern Hercules. Actually, I've got big hopes for that. I'm planning on building it because I love the Herc. I'm quite a favourite of mine. And again, to have a modern tooled Hercules, definitely a bit of a hole in the market for that.
Yeah, massive hole, I'd say. That's a really, I mean, what you got the old
considering the Hercules has been around now for all these years, all
Yes.
the different versions of it as well.
Yep.
Really, you've got the old AMT one, isn't it? And obviously, Italia revoxed a few different types of them over the years and stuff. But again, it's like where are they? Considering it's such a focal point, aircraft as well, and so widely used and been around for so long. Yeah, no one's really touched them. Nice to get the transports get a bit of love.
Again, you've got a massive scope for users as well, haven't you? There's so many countries that use it, so schemes for it and decals and again, I don't know. God, how old is the Herc? Is it 50, 60 year old?
50s, I think it started.
50s, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
Original.
Yeah. So it's easily going to make 100 years old.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So, well, that shows the quality of the design of the aircraft.
Absolutely.
It, really?
Good design, definitely.
So yeah. So again, there are a couple of pre-orders we've got up. We've also got coming in, hopefully by Friday, is the Edar 109s.
Yes.
So that will coincide with obviously the Spitfire we're heading for the Battle of Britain.
Yeah.
They'll be in at the end of it. They've been ordered. They've been paid for. I'm just waiting for them to arrive. So anybody who's pre-ordered off the site again will be getting a invoice from Andy.
Yes.
And we'll get them straight out to you as well. So yeah, it all seems to be happening. And I've seen, and I've spoke again to Gary today, the Tornado, the farewell one, is in certain places and not others. And he's baffled at why. Now, he's coming in on a carton, obviously a pallet, should I say, a carton, a pallet. There's that many coming in. And he has spoke to him, and they're on the way to him. So again, that's another pre-order that will be fulfilled as soon as it lands. And as for the P-38s, before I get messages after this, again, they're on the way. We're just waiting for Robico literally to get their container.
Yeah.
Which I've been told was Friday. Would be this Friday, but obviously then that's got to be sorted. But like Ian did say to me, because we've ordered quite a few, shall we say, they'll just get a label on the box and sent out. So yeah, it could be like next week could be very busy on pre-orders, I think.
Yes.
In other news, what's coming as well, we have these, which is a little rivet tool. Now then, I have got one of these. Which is I got from UMM, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
So this is obviously the Master Tool version, and a lot cheaper, I think, if I remember.
Yeah, they are quite a lot of money. So what we got here is a punch set, basically.
Yeah.
with all your different sizes and shapes and various stuff in there.
That's the one I've just dropped on the laptop. But there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I show you this one, because this one's all, I did get one out of the box, but it's all sort of sealed and stuff, so you can't really see it. But we use this one as an example. So there you go. You get different size punches. And obviously the handle.
Yeah.
But this one comes with, I think, a plastic handle by looks, or a fake wood one. But yeah, so if you want to do,
yes,
for fasteners and stuff, aren't they?
Yeah, you can use them, as I say, for punching all your different shapes, and obviously if you're doing things with metal, if you've got like the thin brass, you can tap into it and make various bits and pieces, but obviously into plastic as well, direct and everything. I've got, to be honest, mine are all like loose, so I haven't got a holder for mine. Mine is just a bag of them. So yeah.
But I think it's useful tool. I think we've got them in for about 16 good old English pounds.
Yeah.
And also,
scraper.
The scrapers are back. Put it right way. That would help, wouldn't it?
Yes.
So this one's the curved one. That's the only one that's come back in. I didn't even know it was coming in, to be honest. So they must have had a restock, because I'd put the orders in for these punch sets. So yeah.
Great tool. Highly recommend it. I know a lot of you have gone out and bought them because we've sold loads of them. But everybody who's given me feedback, and it's all been positive. I haven't had one person yet say don't get it, because actually once you start scraping, as I did on this little guy, it's perfect because it's small. You can actually do all the delicate stuff without destroying all the detail. So it's not like getting in there with sanding sticks and just make loads of damage. You can just lightly go through it, and again taking off tiny little bits of burring and stuff like that. It's absolutely fantastic. Nice, clean, easy way of doing it.
It is, yeah. It's just a nice tool to have in your toolbox. I'm with you. I use them all the time. And also what's back in is the little single blade snips.
Yeah.
Which I haven't tried yet. So I don't know what they're like, but we did sell out of them. So they must be popular. And I think for the price point as well, if you're comparing it to probably Display or God Hand ones, you can get about 4 pair of these for a a set of God Hand ones. But yeah, so they're back in as well.
Cool. Very good.
Happy news. So and then we're on to questions. I think it's been
I've got a few questions this week. We've got a new area, people. Obviously, if you've got not a member, you can just either send Matt questions directly, and the web address I'll put down below. You can see that and message him, or if you are a member, obviously we've got a new question area in the forum. So where we've got the questions at the moment for Ask Phil for my Tuesday show, we've now got a question for the PM Model store in there as well, and obviously we've got a separate area for questions for the team on Thursday night for the live show. So you can ask us in here. Anyway, some of you have done that today because literally I only put it up a couple of hours ago.
Yeah.
Mark's basically saying, have you made a final decision on whether you're going to be stocking Hataka red or blue lines of paints, as he can't get them at the moment and he doesn't want the house stinking out with lacquers. So yes, we have, haven't we? We
have pretty much made a decision. I mean, we did speak about this before, and it's going to be autumn anyway when we get the next paint range in.
Yeah.
Because we have been discussing paint ranges and what we want to get in and stuff, and yes, we have made a decision on it. Basically.
And it's going to be the blue line.
Yes.
So we're not going to do the red line because we think they cross over a little bit too much, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'll go with the blue.
Again, I've been using the blue line a little bit on the armour stuff I've been doing, and I actually like how it works. To be honest, I prefer it over the red line, to be honest. So yeah, again, I think what we're going to do is just the individual bottles. We're not going to do the sets.
Yeah.
Okay. So talking of individual bottles as well, because I know we've been out of stock of quite a few of the orange line. The order's in for stock of individual bottles on the orange line. It's coming in, and that'll probably be here next week as well now, seeing that we're on Wednesday and I can't have a day out because we've
it is. Yeah, bank holiday's thrown us. In the UK it was holiday Monday, so no work Monday. So
yes, again, we're still not at a decision on the sets at all. I think we're just going to stick with the individual bottles for now and see how that plays out, really. So yeah,
again, just to fill in the gap, obviously the sets have trouble with leakage. We've had loads of them leak. We've spoken to Attacker about it. Attacker said they sort of fixed it. We haven't seen any evidence of that yet, shall we say. So at the moment we're not actually selling the sets. That's the reason why. Because again, it's nothing worse for you guys to open up your package and the paint's leaked all over the other bottles as well. So only one might leak, but it's covered all the others. So again, have been checking every single pack that comes through, and they're fine, but at some point they are still leaking. So again, it makes it very difficult for us from a business point of view, and the amount of time and effort it is to get them fixed. So until Attacker get them fixed, we're not doing them. But you can buy all the singles. We've got the entire lot. I think we're the only lot really doing the singles anyway. So we've got the entire range of singles. So don't forget, in the sets, they might seem great value, but you might end up with a colour you don't really use. Which you always seem to get in the sets.
I mean, we've been discussing paint lines quite a bit, haven't we, really? And where we're going and what we're going to stock and what we're doing and what we're not doing. But we are sticking with Attacker.
Yeah, absolutely. But as I said, at the moment, as we know, we've got obviously Tamiya lacquers. We're going to have Attacker lacquers and then Attacker acrylics. We've got the guns range as well. Don't forget, in the Aquitis range right the way through. And as you said, we do very well, and we enjoy doing the paints and the tools. It's where we're sort of putting our hat at the moment. So again, it's one of those things where as soon as we can get them in, we will, and everything. Just bear with us. Obviously, we've got set budgets. We can't just magic out entire huge paint sets, because obviously they cost thousands of pounds to bring in initially. So it's one of those things. We bring them in as and when we can to make our way forward.
Yes, absolutely.
But yes, by the autumn we'll have them in.
Yes, and also talking to tools as well, got some restock of Tamiya tools coming in as well. Put the order in yesterday, and Tamiya paint and stuff is coming back in. So just to keep our stocks up. I do think the whites are still out on the LP range, and I don't think they're due until October now. The dates must be a problem with white pigment. I don't know, but everything else is pretty much stocked up, especially on the XF and everything else. So that's we'll try and keep on top of everything in that respect.
Definitely. Okay, next question is what is the approximate sales ratio between 72nd, 48th, and 32nd scale planes?
Well, 32nd is very minimal for us. We don't really stock 32nd.
We get them in on people for order, but again, as I say, it's quite niche 32nd scale stuff.
But I bet it's not far off 50-50. I'll probably we'll probably do more 48. But I bet 72nd's not far behind anymore. No,
I think you've got the thing is like 72nd World War II bombers is pretty much industry standard size. Okay, you can go to 48th if you want, and then 32nd if you're mad. But that's the thing. Whereas obviously modern, fighters and Second World War fighters, 48th is bread and butter scale. But as we've seen, recently, like I've been saying, kit releases of 72nd, like this is the Armour Hobby 72nd Hurricane. My God, this thing is absolutely amazing. It's a beautiful kit. It goes together fantastically, but the level of detail that is in it is just as good as anything that's 48 scale and 32nd, if you can find a Hurricane in 32nd, fly exception. But I have to say, it is a absolutely wonderful, beautifully detailed little kit. You can go off and obviously see that with the review of that one. And obviously it is a video build that's coming out at the moment. But love it. Really, really nice. Got really into doing it, actually. It's one of those ones where working on something so small, from my point of view, it's very difficult with the camera, because trying to show you without having my head in the way or hands is very, very difficult. 72nd is like very, very in here. If you're doing 48th, you've got a little bit more wiggle room, and obviously 32nd goes the other way then, because you've got to remember to get it all in. But really, highly, definitely.
Yes, they are mods. Brilliant, aren't they?
They are. They're beautiful kits. Very, very nice kits.
So
anyway, so I would say, definitely I would say 32nd is very niche. But then again, if you're into like World War One, 32nd is pretty much standard.
Well, that's it.
Wingnut Wings, rest their soul.
Yeah, absolutely. There are other manufacturers out there that do it.
Yes, absolutely. But no, it is that thing. I think 48 scale is pretty much still standard, but 72nd has really had over the last few years a real comeback, I think. Don't they call it the gentleman's scale?
It is a proper resurgence in 72nd.
Yeah. But again, I think the kits have proven it as well, because the kits now are fantastic.
Yeah.
So
I say mold technology and CAD have just obviously pushed the boundaries of what you can do in 72nd. But you'll be into 1144th next.
No. That ain't never going to happen. I did that, remember, for the build. I did a Hornet in 144. Great little fun build for a day build, but yeah, not one you would want to do all the time. Anyway, he said, is there a difference between modern and old aircrafts? Again, I think it's that thing where some things fit. I call it the 1 foot rule. I often talk about it on my shows as well, where 1 foot scale is really, really nice. So if you're talking like World War One, 32nd scale World War One aircraft, because they're that scale, are fantastic, really, really nice size. And again, World War Two aircraft, 48 scale, is a really very nice scale to go. You know, and then obviously modern flanker, for instance, a Russian Su-27 is the same size as a 48 scale F-16. So you've still got that size to work in, because otherwise, if you're into 48 scale flankers, getting a big lump, you know, and getting them all in there. But I still say one of these cutting mats, if it fits inside, it's a nice scale, you know, because it's nice to work with.
Yeah, I think you got to think. Yeah, I agree with you with that. Actually, cutting mat size is the ideal, depending on how big your cutting mat is, obviously.
Well, this is it. Yeah, the A2 ones, you're okay. But anyway, he's saying he's guessing 35th scale is still the armour dominant. I would say, isn't it? 35th scale is pretty much. But again, we've seen some fantastic releases in 72nd as well. Tamiya doing 48 scale.
Yep.
You know, they're really, really very nice kits. So
yeah.
Some good stuff in that one. The only other question we had, technically it's the same type of one we were talking about, was, just bring it up because it came through as a question, was from Clive. And he was saying about the last couple of months, he's vested in Hitaka a few of their sets, as well as individuals, and obviously we are low on stock with those ones. But again, we have got restocks going to be going on order. We'll get them back up to speed and going through with it. To be honest, you know, I'm just being honest here, we were waiting for more information about the leaky bottles, because obviously we don't want to get in hundreds of bottles of paint and then have a problem with the bottles. So we've been actually waiting for a little bit of feedback on what's happening with the leaky bottles and making sure they're fine before we commit to having stocks of hundreds of them, thousands of them sat on the shelf and we've got problems with the bottles. So again, it was one of those things, but we are led to believe we're okay. So we'll go with that.
We'll go for it in that way. Was there a question about an F-86?
Yes. Who does a 132nd F-86 I think the question was.
And we've done a bit of research and came up with nobody.
We can't find an E. We can find an F, and obviously for that you've got old school would be Hasegawa kit.
Yeah.
You know, there's that one that's available out there, and obviously if you want to go slightly more modern, you've got the Kinetic one, who was reboxed by Italeri, which are a bit like hen's teeth now, aren't they?
You can't really hard to get hold of.
Really fine to get. And obviously there is like Japanese versions of the Hasegawa kit with the F-86, but they are Fs. And again, I don't know, perhaps it may have been a typo from you, or you are after an E, but I can't find a 36 F-86 Sabre E type. I can only find the Fs. Fs, as I say, Hasegawa has done various different ones of it. Reboxings over the years, done the Japanese version as well as obviously the US. But more modern is obviously the Kinetic one. And then that was reboxed by Italeri some years ago now, wasn't it?
It's a long time ago. I mean, that is quite an old kit, isn't it? The Kinetic. And they never released it either. It's never been reissued, has it?
No, not as far as I know.
So, I wonder what's happened to them moulds.
I don't know.
It's odd though, isn't it? You know, if you're investing that as a company into the molds to do that kit, you know, you can see it doing a couple of years of a run or a run of how many, and then you retire it for a bit, and then I mean with an F-86 again, the decal schemes, you could just bring it back with a new scheme every 5 years. Yeah, definitely. Again, it's up against nothing, is it?
No. Really,
you know, very odd. So yeah, that'd be interesting to know.
Yeah, definitely. One of those ones. Again, like the Sabre, considering what such an iconic aircraft it is.
Yeah.
You know, obviously there is some nice ones at it. I built it. Obviously we did the Sabre, which I think is up with you now, isn't it? Is it? I don't know.
No, I think you've got the Sabre.
Have I still got the Sabre down here? I don't know what.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I have done. Yeah, she's up there. So I did one as a video build, and that was the Edard reboxing of the Hasegawa kit.
Yeah.
Or was it the Academy one?
No, it's Hasegawa kit.
It's the Hasegawa one. Because obviously 48 scale, you've got Academies or the Hasegawa one. So yeah,
And
Academy's is nice, got the engine.
Hey, Airfix are bringing one out, aren't they?
Airfix is one. That's the one to see, isn't it? That's the new one coming down the line.
That's due out soon, I think.
It is. I've seen the CAD work. Look very, very nice in CAD. So be interesting to see.
Because it could be an RAF one, isn't it? Or start with an RAF one. I presume they will go to do the US one at some point, because it'd be silly if they didn't from a marketing point of view. But it'd be interesting to see how that stacks up against its competition. Again, talking of the Academy one, I know Andy's got one. I presume, have you built the Academy one?
Yeah, I've done the Academy one.
Why that's never been re-released either? Again, it's very odd.
To be honest, the Academy one isn't a bad kit, because again, you've got the engine, comes with a full detailed engine. You can have it opened up, comes with a dolly as well for the tail to sit on. Nice little details like it. It comes with all the guns.
Yeah.
So you can have the bays open and the various bits and pieces, where obviously the Hasegawa one doesn't.
Yeah.
So again, good kit. Why don't they release it? It's like,
Yeah, exactly.
What is wrong with you, company? You release all this junk. You got good kits and you don't release the good stuff. It's like, why? What is wrong with you?
Yeah, exactly. Like I say, unless the molds have been damaged, I don't understand it of why it's never been reissued.
Yeah.
But there you go. You never know. With us doing this, they might hear it and go, "Oh yeah, we forgot we've got that one. Let's dig it out for next year's catalogue."
Do you think AK might watch this and think we better get rid of the book?
Well, hopefully. To be honest with you, I think they're going to hear a lot more of this.
I think they're getting some probably very colourful feedback. That's how I would describe it.
I think you're correct. Yeah.
Yes. I did say to Matt earlier, because me and Matt usually have a bit of a conference call first thing in the morning about PM and everything. Yeah. And I did say I'd love to be a fly on the wall in their office this morning.
Wouldn't you just?
Coming into work. Hey everyone, I missed it. Did anything happen overnight? I was at dinner or something and missed it. And can you imagine? Well, we've had a little bit.
Yeah.
On the upside, their website had massive hits, I would have thought, that they don't normally get.
You want the hits for the right reason, not for the wrong ones, don't you?
Yeah, I think I did say last night, wasn't it, that you know that old adage where they say there's no such thing as bad press.
Yeah.
I think they might have proved that actually that's wrong. There is. You can have bad press that's negative.
I really do. Yeah, I totally agree with you. To be honest, this old AK issue has got some mileage in it, and I think it's going to rumble on for a bit.
I think it will be. Yeah, I think for them to try and sweep this under the rug, it's a difficult one, because it is such a strong emotive conversation to have, and I think it's not a conversation modelers normally have. Let's face it. Like we were saying before, we all know what weapons of war do and what they're capable of, but you don't ever talk about that. No. You often talk about how like a Tiger could take out a Sherman sort of 2 kilometers away, no problem at all, but you never discuss what it does when it actually hits that Sherman. But we all know the Sherman was called the Zippo for a very good reason, but you don't need to talk about that bit, because we're all acutely aware of whilst the Sherman was called the Zippo. So it's one of those areas where I think there's a nice little line drawn to it, and all the things that happen, and various. But honestly, AK, you're gonna take some tip in that one. For somebody to better that one, it's gonna be something really impressive.
Well, let's hope they don't, to be honest, because
you
don't want to be going through this again.
Everybody will see this and think, that idea we had, I'll tell you what, forget it. It's like a lot of companies, if they were thinking, then yes, definitely. So never mind. Anyway, we will leave it there. We've been going an hour.
Yep, that's it.
That will do us. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Don't forget, as always, you can get everything from the store. As I say, we've got full lines of tools, paints and everything. And if it's not in stock, it will be soon. We've got restocks coming in all the time. Pre-orders obviously are available for the Flory Models members. It's in the usual PM store area in there. You can put your name down. Don't forget, it's great for us because we get a feeling of what you guys want. If you're a non-member, don't forget you can actually just hit the actual wait list area. Pop your email down in there. It sends us a little message and puts you on a list with everybody else, and then obviously we can see what you need as well. So if we're getting big hits on certain kits, we can make sure we prioritize of getting those kits in, or even chase them up to find out where they are. And then obviously you'll be sent an email as soon as it comes back in stock. You'll get an email sent out to you with all the links and everything to be able to get the stuff straight away.
Just before we leave,
yes,
can I remember?
Yes.
If I can grab it. Can I just say thank you to Stuart?
Oh, yes.
I got this through in the post yesterday, and it's from Stuart H. He's a PM member, and he sent this for me and Phil, obviously for the hurricane and the refueler. So we've got a little base.
So the plan with this one, just to fill in, I'm building this little Hurricane here. There you go, you can see him now. Which I'm doing the 70-second, the little Armour Hobby one. Matt's doing the 70-second refueling Bowser.
The Bowser.
The little Bowser for it as well. So the idea is we're going to make a little diorama for the PM store. Yeah.
And if we can muster up some sort of 70-second figures.
Yes.
Then it will definitely, because it's going to need some figures on it.
Yeah, it needs a few people running around it. Yeah.
I think there are a few companies that do some, so we can muster something together. But yeah, my plan is obviously we'll put this on a bit of a base, on foam and whatever, and make some of it. I think it'll be quite cool little project.
Yeah, definitely.
So thank you for that. Appreciate that.
Yes, definitely. Thank you very much for sending that. Much appreciated.
And also thank you for everybody who took part in the auction on Sunday.
Yes.
It's a lot of fun.
Giggle as always.
We've been invoiced, I think now all the invoices are done, or majority are.
Yeah.
So check your PayPal inboxes if you haven't got one. I know Andy's done ours from this side, and I think Nathan's done most of the others. I think there's one where we've just got to calculate the postage. So So they'll be out. I'm taking some today, and the rest will be booked in for courier tomorrow. The bigger stuff will be booked in and be gone Friday. So happy days.
Right, okay then. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. We will see you next Wednesday. Until then, happy modelling. Take care. Bye.
Bye.